y eso obviamente nos ha hecho cambiar un poco las dinámicas. Ahora, eso no quiere decir que sea una excusa para no tener el evento del Legal Hackers Summit, que a mi parecer lo bueno de un Legal Hackers Summit es de que indistintamente de la distancia, de los horarios, podemos tener discusiones, podemos conocer nuevas personas involucradas o interesadas en tecnología e innovación. Yo de mi parte soy uno de los organizadores del capítulo de Guatemala y por motivos personales y profesionales estaré dejando el capítulo, pero fue esa última oportunidad para generar un evento. Y gracias al apoyo de más de 10 capítulos del Legal Hackers alrededor de la región de Latinoamérica es que podemos tener este evento. Se unió Bogotá, Medellín, Ecuador, es decir, se unieron una vastedad de capítulos de Legal Hackers, que es lo que demuestra lo que más me gusta de Legal Hackers, que es la colaboración interdisciplinaria con muchas personas interesadas en tecnología. Así que este esfuerzo es para todos esos capítulos, para todos esos organizadores, incluso para todas nuestras organizaciones afiliadas que creyeron en el Legal Hackers Summit 2021, que nuevamente será de manera digital, pero espero que el próximo año ya llegamos a un evento presencial y posiblemente será en Bogotá, porque José Torres tiene cara de organizar un evento. Así que, sin nada más, y para darle la palabra a Jameson Dempsey, es uno de los directores a nivel global de Legal Hackers como tal, como un movimiento internacional con presencia en mentiría, decir la cifra de ciudades que está Legal Hackers, pero seguro Jameson tiene la cifra. Así que les voy a dar la bienvenida a Jameson. Como muchos de ustedes sabrán, Jameson es de Estados Unidos, actualmente es abogado para una empresa en Estados Unidos, que su nombre es Loom, y él seguramente podrá explicar un poquito más de Legal Hackers, del movimiento y cuál es la intención de Legal Hackers. Así que el segmento de Jameson pues será en inglés, pero él todavía puede hablar un poco de español de vez en cuando. Así que Jameson, welcome, and you can go ahead with the introduction and opening the Legal Hackers Summit.
Wow. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Mao. Thank you very much, Jose. Thank you to everyone who has joined this, the third Latin American Legal Hackers Summit. I'm here to introduce the summit, but this is not my work. This is the work of the amazing organizers throughout Latin America who have come together in the midst of a pandemic to put together a virtual summit, bringing together all legal hackers throughout the region. So I'm really, really honored to be here. Congratulations to all the organizers on their terrific success in putting this together. It looks like a fantastic program, so I'm excited to follow along. But Mao asked me to give a brief introduction to Legal Hackers, our mission, our ethos, what we're trying to accomplish, things that we have done in Latin America, and hopefully to inspire some people on the call today to start their own Legal Hackers chapter or get involved with a student group or an existing chapter. So with that, what I'm going to do is share my screen and give a very brief presentation about Legal Hackers. If you have any questions at any time, feel free to ping in the chat. Hopefully we can address some of those at the very end. And if I'm speaking too quickly at any point in time, please just let me know, and I'm very happy to slow down or to repeat anything. Can you all see my screen in the presentation? Can I just hear from Mao or Jose?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, very cool. So I'm going to talk about Legal Hackers very briefly about myself. My name is Jameson Dempsey. I am a lawyer. I focus on telecommunications, media, and technology law. I'm also one of the global directors of Legal Hackers. And so in that role, I help chapters around the world to form, to grow, to thrive, to connect to one another, and to preserve the Legal Hackers ethos. I'm not a founder of Legal Hackers. That was founded by a bunch of students. I'll tell you more about that, but I have been involved since the beginning. So I've seen its evolution from a small hackathon in New York City to a global community today. So what is Legal Hackers? Legal Hackers is a global grassroots community. And what we're trying to do is to foster creative problem solving at the intersection of law and technology. By fostering, that means to inspire, bringing together lawyers, technologists, entrepreneurs, designers, artists, people in government, and people who are just interested in the intersection of law and technology, to learn from one another, to build things together, and to discuss some of the most pressing issues at the intersection of law and tech. And that's what we mean by legal hacking. Legal Hackers began in 2012 in Brooklyn, New York. It all started when some students and their professor came together with the idea of leveraging the tools and the methods and the ethos of the technology community, particularly the open source technology community, the open knowledge, the free knowledge community, and applying that to solving law and policy challenges. So in April 2012, they hosted the first ever legal hackathon, and they had some great success. Terrific speakers, really cool projects came out of it. But as Jonathan Askin, who you can see in the middle of the top photo on the right, as he said, it was kind of a hackathon on training wheels, right? This was the beginning of a new thing. And so once the hackathon was over, the students said, well, what more can we do? They were graduating, they were entering the professional community. And so they formed a meetup called New York Legal Hackers. And the idea was, let's bring together people from all of these different disciplines so we can all learn from one another. So lawyers could learn the language of tech, technologists could learn the language of law and policy, and we could work together to solve some of the most challenging issues, public policy issues, access to justice, etc. And so they did. And since then, Legal Hackers has grown tremendously. Today, Legal Hackers is made up of local chapters and student groups in cities all over the world. Today, we have just about 200 chapters in over 70 countries, as you can see from this map right here. And within that, we've had tremendous growth within Latin America. Let me show you. In 2021, Legal Hackers has expanded to 58 active chapters, including new chapters throughout Latin America, as you can see in Bolivia, in Brazil, in Mexico, Colombia, Peru, and our most recent chapter in Honduras, just getting founded. So as you can see, Legal Hackers has expanded dramatically within Latin America. And in my view, Latin America has been one of the most exciting areas for building this open culture for law. So what is the Legal Hackers ethos? Well, Legal Hackers is an open culture movement. Just like open source is to software, or Wikipedia is to knowledge, or the Khan Academy or Coursera is to education, Legal Hackers is to law and policy. So we're guided by something called the hacker ethic. The hacker ethic has been around for a long time, in fact, about 60 years now. And it's all about accessibility and openness and sharing and play. Now, typically, hacking has been about technology. It started at MIT, one of the premier research universities in the world, but it's since spread and been adopted in a number of different fields, from education to public service and government. And what Legal Hackers is trying to do is apply that to law and policy. So when we talk about an open culture for law, we mean a couple different things. First, open means it's open to everyone. Everyone's welcome to be a part of Legal Hackers. But it also means the things that we do, we like to share out with the rest of the world. So I have some examples here. One might be open educational resources for law. Now, typically, to gain access to legal education, you had to apply for and be accepted to a law school. Then you take courses as part of a curriculum and then work your way toward a degree. And what that means is that oftentimes legal education is held behind a number of different barriers: financial barriers, institutional barriers, time barriers for those who don't have time to leave their job and take full time at school. And so open educational resources says that these educational resources should be open for everybody. So how might we take the curriculum of the law school and make that available so anyone can learn it around the world? Now, this might seem like a radical idea, but MIT has already put almost all of their courses online for free. Harvard has done the same for a number of its courses, and Oxford and many of the leading universities around the world have embraced the idea of open educational resources for law. You can take leading courses in computer science or political science, but with law, there are only really a couple dozen courses available. So how might we explore this idea of open educational resources for law so that everyone can benefit from legal knowledge? Other areas might be open legal data or free access to law. The free access to law movement has spread all around the world. And the idea is that justice itself should be open, in the sense that the laws that govern us and the case laws from various systems should not only be available, should not only be accessible to everyone, but should be available online. And there have been great websites that have been built, and governments have starting to take open justice seriously, making laws and making legislation and case law available for free online. Another area is free and open source legal technology. Now, legal technology has made tremendous strides over the last few decades. And as I'm sure all of you know on this call today, there's been a tremendous boom within legal tech all around the world. Now, one of the challenges is that most of this tech tends to be proprietary. And among technology startups, the vast majority of startups fail, which means that a lot of the great work is not preserved in some way. So we're not learning necessarily from what all of these companies go through in their process. One of the challenges here is that unlike in the broader technology community, there isn't an open source foundation for contract analytics or for e-discovery or for open legislation or legislative drafting tools, for example. And so how might we start to create these free and open source tools? How can we create a free and open foundation for legal technology? Which isn't to say there isn't a role for proprietary technologies, isn't a role for startups. Of course there is. But if at the foundation we're building on open source, what that means is that the technology can be more advanced, can be more secure, can be more accessible for everyone. And then the final area is collaborative technology policy discussion. Now, technology policy discussions historically have taken place in the seat of government between people who are active in government, between corporations that are able to afford lawyers and lobbyists to participate, and NGOs that are also able to participate. So one of the questions that we ask with legal hackers is how might we get more people involved in these conversations? And how can we do that at the local level? And so legal hackers chapters around the world host discussions about issues like artificial intelligence and law, or blockchain regulation, or data protection, or cybersecurity, and host those conversations at the local level. So everyone has a fundamental understanding of what the new technologies are, how they work, and how they interface with our legal systems and our laws. And so that's what we mean by collaborative technology policy discussion. Now, why these areas? Because these advance access to information and education and tools in line with the hacker ethic. Now, very, very importantly, legal hackers is not a number of things. Legal hackers is not a commercial enterprise. Everyone, including myself, is a volunteer. Our events are free to attend. There are no membership fees to be a part of legal hackers. And we don't use legal hackers to promote the products and services of particular startups or companies or sponsors. Instead, we're an open and welcoming non-commercial community. You can come in when you want, you can leave when you want. We're also not a trade association, which means you don't need to be a lawyer, you don't need to be a technologist, you don't need to have a company to be a part of legal hackers. We're not an industry group. Instead, we're just a group of people, a group of volunteers who are very interested in this area. Next, we're not a political activist group or political advocacy group, which means we don't lobby the government, we don't take political positions, we're politically neutral. Now, we invite people to have conversations. We talked about collaborative tech policy. So together to build discussion. That's the whole idea. How conversation between people of different to build prototype issues of law and technology, and to do that in an open and a collaborative way. So you can see some examples here: coding for lawyers, data science 101, prototype jams, design sprints, and then discussions about things like online trust and safety, the future of legal practice. So not only the law of technology, but also technology for law. Now, we've had a number of really tremendous events all around the world. There are some here. There was the MEX ICANN